30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in on kind of a cloudy, overcast Monday in Nashville, Tennessee. We are, as you can tell in the background, at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue, and we have got a lot of stuff to get into today, most of it in football. Given that it's the middle of football season, we start out every show with Terry McCormick's Daily Titans Update, brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. She wants to be your mortgage lady, and through the folks at USA Mortgage, that absolutely can happen. So dial Lori up at 615-969-4350. Let's check in with Terry McCormick, Main Street Media. He was up at Lucas Oil yesterday for the Titans' loss to the Colts. Terry, what are you hearing injury-wise?
Well, George, it's possible that the Titans could get Tierre Tart back this week. Vrabel said he was hopeful that that could happen. He missed yesterday's game with a toe injury, and the results you saw as far as how the Colts were able to gash the defensive line, and Zach Moss in particular running for a big day, 155 yards or something like that. Just an all-around lackluster performance from the defense yesterday. And also he said that Treylon Burks has an opportunity to get back on the practice field, maybe do some running. He sounded seemingly a little less optimistic about his return for this week, said we'll see. And then coming out of the game, Jeffrey Simmons aggravated a shoulder, it seemed like, and was down on the field for one play, came off, and then returned to finish the game. Doesn't seem to be a big issue in terms of health there.
Terry, they go to London to take on the Baltimore Ravens. What's the schedule look like this week?
Well, they're going to stay at home here and practice tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then they'll pack up and head to London Thursday evening and arrive there on Friday. Get settled in, go through walkthrough type of practice, and then maybe do a little bit of the same thing on Saturday to get ready for the game on Sunday. By contrast, the Ravens are already over there. They left today, so they're going to spend the entire week in London. I asked Mike Vrabel about the decision to stay here at home and practice, and he said that the way that they handled it like that last year seemed to work, or a few years, the last time they went to London, I should say, worked out pretty well. So he has decided to follow that same formula.
Interesting.
And you got to believe the Ravens have a slight advantage there. I mean, getting there, getting settled. I know it's just a couple of days before the Titans, but I think that affected last week's game in Jacksonville. The Jags were able to win it, I think, because they had gotten there a little bit earlier. It's probably not the main reason, but.
Well, you do wonder because they dominated that game. It ended up 25-20, but Jacksonville from the very beginning looked like the better team. So, Terry, tell me, you were there yesterday. How surprised were you that they just got the ball crammed down their throat?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a surprise. I think most people going in would have thought the Titans were the better team over the Colts, who are admittedly in a rebuild with a rookie quarterback. Now, obviously, those plans changed when Anthony Richardson was knocked out of the game with a shoulder injury, and Gardner Minshew came off the bench to finish up and played pretty well. But, George, I'm going to throw a couple things at you, and this is something we talked about earlier in the day. This Titans team, they're a hard one to figure out consistency-wise. And part of that is because when they have their A game and they play well, like you saw a week ago against Cincinnati, They're capable of beating some of the top teams in the league. But the problem with this team, in my opinion, is they don't have enough to win when they don't have their A game. If they have their B or their C game like they did yesterday, then it's hard for them to find a way to win. When the defense gives up 20 or more points over the last 2 years, Titans are 2-9 in those games, George. And you just can't win doing that because you're not always going to be able to hold teams to 15 or 16 points every week and try to win a football game.
No, you're dead on with where you're going, and in fact, when Watson and Kelly come on with their Titans analysis, I'm gonna unload a similar thought to yours, but I'm gonna take it a little bit farther. How about that?
That sounds good.
Terry, we'll do it again tomorrow, same time, same place.
All right, sounds good, George.
Terry McCormick's Daily Titans Update brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. She wants to be your mortgage lady. And through the folks at USA Mortgage, that is absolutely possible. So dial her up, 615-969-4350. Now let's go to Murfreesboro, say hello to Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
Great, George. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good to see you.
Well, good to be seen.
You're looking spiffy. You're looking spiffy today. Are you cold Are you cold where you are?
I'll say this: Friday it was freezing, and of course with the ice, they've had a big tournament going on in here.
Yeah,
and I guess this is. I mean, it's like going to the hockey game at the arena. Temperature is going to be somewhere between 58 and 60 degrees with all that ice, and so. Yeah, this seemed like the right deal today.
So you've become soft in the ages of 60. You've become really soft.
A total wuss bag. I could get even more graphic, but I don't think it's necessary.
You soft as cotton candy, Hoss.
Yeah, so are you.
Yeah, I agree.
You weren't always that way. Unfortunately,
no,
I probably was.
Now. I'm soft as Charmin now. I'll be honest with you.
Where Troy went? Did they go to Arkansas State or was it at Troy?
They played at Troy.
Okay.
They played at Troy. Yeah, that was not a very. My son told me they were 3-2 going into the game, but man, they're not very good. They're just not very good. I don't. It was never a game ever. So Butch Jones has got his work cut out still for him.
Oh, so Troy dominated that game.
Won what, 37-3?
Yeah, it was 37-3. I mean, I don't think the head coach for Troy wanted Arkansas State to score because they had some backups in the game, but he was upset when they kicked that field goal. There's no question. I think he wanted to put a goose egg on them folks.
Well, goose eggs come in a variety of ways.
Correct.
Comes in football.
In a variety of colors sometimes.
Yeah, well, I saw a goose egg Saturday.
Mm.
Whoops. I'll say this about my travels. I don't normally let Braves losses really get me down. If you're in this playoff business long enough, you're not going to win them all. But Saturday really got me. They didn't hit 5 balls that day on the screws. And one of the things, and I don't mean this as an alibi, because not only did the Braves get whipped, but they got whipped by a team that appears to have their number in some cases in the Phillies. And I don't know why that is. If I did, I would have sent, Anthopoulos a little email. Alex, here's the problem. I'm sure he'd be thrilled to get it. But here's one thing that is going on. Baseball tries to reward its 1 and 2 seeds with sort of 5 days off. And in theory, it sounds great. When you do that in the NFL and give a team an extra week, man, they get healthy, they this, they that. In baseball, it appears that it's working the opposite way. The Dodgers get ripped by Arizona. They were down in the fourth inning 9-0. 9 times. Baltimore, a 1 seed. They're dead.
They're down
2-0 and going to Texas, and they got ripped in both games. Astros, as the 2 seed, they're tied 1-1 with Minnesota. So if my math is right, the 1 and 2 seeds, all with home games, have gone 1-5.
Yeah.
You do wonder if baseball's wondering about that. As for me,
but how do you fix that, George? Like, what do you do? I mean, you got to give the guys all. I don't know. I don't understand that.
I don't know. They're going to have to go back to the drawing board. I'll say this: I'm depressed.
It's just one game, George. It's just one game.
It feels worse than that.
Are these 5-game series or 7 games?
5.
5 game? Oh boy.
Well,
in other words, they got to win today at 5:00.
Oh yeah, they better.
Must win. Here's why it feels like more than just one loss, because you ask Kelly, it's a 5-game series, right? If this is a 7-game, you'd be fine. You still got, you got to win 4, but in a 5-game, you just got to win 3. So that's why it feels like it's 2 losses, like you're down in a bigger hole than you maybe actually are.
Their goal needs to be to somehow get it back to Atlanta for Game 5. Am I stupid enough to go back for Game 5?
Yes.
Maybe. Maybe.
Well, it is tonight, 5:00 TBS. Zach Wheeler has been phenomenal for the Phillies. He's going tonight.
He's from Atlanta, and he has shoved it down their throat for years. And I don't know if there's something behind the scenes about it, that maybe he wanted them to sign him. I don't know. I just know that he pitches like Cy Young against them.
Well, the Braves are going to need Max Fried to be Cy Young tonight instead. You've also got D-backs, Dodgers, 8:00 tonight, Game 2. The D-backs handled the Dodgers as well.
Ripped them.
On the other side, out west. So
Clayton Kershaw gave up 6 in the first inning.
Whew. What happened to him?
Listening to radio on the way home, Louisville just scored. God.
Again in the
pummeled
in the 5th quarter.
Pummeled Notre Dame.
That was bad.
Wow.
That was bad. Well, I'm sure we'll see more of that Saturday when Georgia comes to Nashville to play Vandy. They are a 31.5-point favorite. So that's a lot of points, but it's Georgia and Vandy. So, Vandy hasn't covered a game yet, I don't think. So,
Is the SEC pissed off at CBS? Why would that be the 11:00?
It feels
game
like
1 of a doubleheader, or is it simply they have to show them?
Well, it feels like they scheduled that further in advance. They said, "Oh, Vandy, maybe they have a winning record heading into this game. We might go ahead and schedule this." But also, it's Georgia. I mean, they won't. If they have a chance to put Georgia on CBS, they will. So I don't know. That's a tough look for CBS having to put that.
I know this, and I know we'll talk about it, but Georgia looked good the other day.
We've got to rethink what we've thought about Georgia, because
yes, we do.
Clearly, my thoughts a week ago, no.
Maybe they needed some incentive, and
They
Kentucky was coming in there 5-0, and they said, "Nah, you ain't ready yet."
I'll say this: as things kept getting worse at Truist Park, I noticed a lot of this going on. People with their phones turning on the Georgia game.
Oh, yeah.
The guy in front of me had the A&M Bama game on near the end of it when it got really interesting. And I leaned over to him at one point. I said, "You ever thought somebody was breathing down your neck?"
Well, Tennessee, meanwhile, this Saturday, they welcome the Aggies after that loss to Bama. Tennessee's a 3.5-point favorite. And I'm sure that might go down. It was at 3. It went up half a point. It'll probably keep shifting. And I'll be interested to see if that goes down at all. And then in a couple of weeks, Tennessee will travel to Tuscaloosa. That's a 2:30 kick.
Well, that's a big shock.
On CBS. That's a 3rd Saturday in October, as God intended. Has that ever not been 2:30 on CBS? Maybe when Tennessee was not as good.
I remember when Peyton was there, 6:00 one time in Birmingham, and he torched them.
Torched them for 4 years.
Yeah.
Florida
couldn't beat Florida, but handled Alabama every year.
Yeah. What was it? 8 years in a row, something like that. They beat Alabama.
It's crazy.
Pretty impressive.
Packers Raiders tonight, 7:15 on ESPN. Should be a decent one. We had a clunker last night. I went into that one excited to watch. It's gonna be a good Sunday night game, but
if you go outside right now and you open your door and you hear cheering, San Fran just scored again.
Hey, this just in too. San Fran's pretty good.
Pretty good.
And Brock Purdy
is pretty good.
Is better than he's being given credit for. There's some throws he made over the middle last night that have me saying, whoa, he's better than just some game manager.
Yeah, and that was the narrative for so long, that he's just a game manager. He's doing well because of everybody around him. But, I mean, Kelly, as a quarterback, the throws he was making, those aren't just, simple system throws. I mean, he's rolling out. He's dotting them. I mean, he's playing his butt off.
He's good, man. He's a really good player. He's got some really good guys around him. He's got some skilled dudes like George Kittle. He's got Jawan Jennings there. He's got the Deebo Samuel kid. He might be the best player in the NFL. I mean, Ayuk. I mean, all them dudes can play. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like John Lynch has done such an incredible job of just got so many athletes in that place on offense and defense.
Another athlete, Justin Jefferson, was hurt in the Vikings' loss against Kansas City, which was a brutal loss. I thought, who's their head coach?
Talking about the Vikings?
McConnell. Kevin McConnell.
O'Connell, yeah, Kevin O'Connell. I thought he
just
bungled that at the end there in the last 3 or 4 minutes of that one. But Jefferson's hurt, and they're awaiting final tests on his strained right hamstring. O'Connell said today that they will not put him back on the field until he's fully recovered. So that's the latest there on Justin Jefferson. Also, the Giants are optimistic about Daniel Jones playing this week against Buffalo after he left the Dolphins game with a neck injury. So they're hoping to get Danny Dimes back. Also, the Colts, little status report on Anthony Richardson, he's going to miss some time. He will be out against Jacksonville. And, Kelly, I'm sure we'll get to this with Watson. We'll probably be talking more about the Titans, but I thought they were running him way too much. I mean, this is not college football. And I just felt when they were running him as much as he did, as they did, I was like, he's going to get hurt eventually.
It doesn't matter what kind of specimen you are. I mean, he's a huge guy, can run, but in the NFL, you better learn how, and it's the coach's fault. I mean, Tom Moore talked about it when I talked to him a couple months ago. He's like, 65 guys played in quarterback in the NFL last year. He's like, they don't know how to protect them. Good gracious. I'm like, you better put people back there to protect them. You better learn how to throw from the pocket, man. It's just, I don't know.
I don't know. I hate blaming this on him, but it's almost the way he runs. I mean, he just fell how hard he hit the ground. It wasn't really because any of what the Titans defender did. He just fell so hard on that shoulder.
Little kamikaze action.
Yeah.
The only quarterback I've seen that appears to just be able to defy the odds is Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Well, Jalen Hurts does too now.
He does.
Well, Jalen Hurts has started getting down now. They've talked to him get what you can, get down, please. We need you.
Richardson's 21 years old. He doesn't feel as nimble quite yet as maybe Hurts or Allen. They're just able to control their body a little bit more. So, but Richardson, they're going to have to learn that with him, because I had a feeling that was going to happen.
Okay, we done on the
That's
update?
It. That's what I got.
Okay, after the break, Watson Brown will join us. He and Kelly Holcomb will have their Titans analysis, and I will have a very clear vision to share with you on what the Titans really are. Stick around.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, you need to call Bart Durham. And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from, and for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
I'm Watson Brown.
I'm Kelly Holcomb.
I'm Billy Derrick.
We're the George Plaster Show. We've been Nashville's best sports talk for the last 30 years. And you know what? We still are.
Catch us live weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time in Nashville on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, the podcast version is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs. So I know Watson Brown's going to join us here in just a moment. He and Kelly Holcomb will give us all of the analysis of what went on yesterday. I had an epiphany yesterday, a very clear vision of what it all is, and I'm here to share it with you. Terry's right. This team, when they bring their A game, absolutely their A game, they can be dangerous. They can win some games. When they bring you their B and C level, it ain't going to happen. And the problem is, in the world of sports, you're more likely to bring B, B plus, than to be able to say A every night. What this is, if we're being honest, is a football team that's going 7-10. They're not going to go 10-7. They're a 7-10 football team. They're a lot like the Predators were the last couple of years. Good enough to maybe make some noise, but never good enough to really go anywhere. And that's where I think the Titans are right now. Now, I want to get these two guys to sort of agree, disagree, go wherever. Watson, first of all, how are you?
My bad. Thought we had him, George.
Okay.
Not sure why that keeps happening.
Kelly, why don't you start it? What do you think?
It's a good analysis, George. I don't know. I just I feel like I say this every week. I wasn't on last week, but I feel like I say this every week. Like the Titans don't scare you offensively. Like they just don't scare you. And I was listening to the radio yesterday, the post game with Kevin Dyson and those guys, and just seems like I don't know. It just feels this way to him. It kind of looks this way to me. It's like they're kind of transitioning from Derrick Henry a little bit. I don't know. I think that the coordinator wants to, somebody said like throw the ball a bunch. I didn't think they threw the ball a bunch, like anything other than what they normally do. But I got to piggyback on what Watson says. They're just not a great drop back team. They're just not that. And in order, when Mike Vrabel came here, he wanted to be a run-oriented offense, a run-first team, and that's what they built that for. And if you're going to be good running the football, well, you've got to be good play action wise. But right now, they're just not able to run the football. They do get some things with play action passes, but I'm going to say it again. I know this gets redundant to everybody that's listening, but like, who scares you for them offensively? Like, there's really nobody that scares you. I mean, I know that they got DeAndre Hopkins, but he's getting a little older. He's not the fastest guy in the world. He still makes unbelievable catches. He's still the consummate pro. I mean, he's unbelievable with making plays, but their running team, they're going to stack the box on you, and they're just going to say, hey, we're going to play you man-to-man outside. You may hit a throw or two, but we're not worried about that. You're not going to beat us. You're not going to beat us like that. We're going to stop your run game. And then we don't think that you've got anybody outside that is really going to make many plays, and you don't scare us. So when you're in that situation, George, that's a tough situation for a quarterback to be in, man, because if you look, I mean, he's got to be precise. And they were talking about it today with the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots are really bad too, and they get no separation with their wide receivers. And like, where's Mac Jones supposed to throw the ball? Everybody's talking about Mac Jones, but like, if you can't get separation from people, where's he supposed to throw? It's the same thing with the Titans. Like, if you can't get separation on people, you're putting Ryan Tannehill behind the 8 ball already. And I just – they're going to struggle, George, to win games. And I think you and Terry hit the nail on the head right there. If they don't bring their A game, which it's hard to play in your A game a lot, if you don't have the A game, you're not going to win a lot of games in this league. And that's kind of where they are right now.
So, Watson, I know you're on with us. Before you came on, I made this deal about I had a clear I had an epiphany yesterday, and the epiphany is this is a 7-10 football team. They are good enough from time to time to have some really good things happen. But if you think it's going to happen every week, we're kidding ourselves. This is not a playoff team. It's not even a 500 team. It's a 7-10 kind of football team.
I won't go as far as you. I'm going to say it's somewhere in between that. The whole deal to me, and yesterday they could have won that game as easy as they didn't. They didn't win it. The difference being you got to score touchdowns instead of field goals, and 2 times they get down there. And I'm not sure that it was just a little bit unlucky. I mean, they got a screen called. Everybody's yelling and screaming. They're blocking downfield. Of course they are. It's a screen. The quarterback cannot throw the ball past the line of scrimmage. Quarterback coaches have taught that for a million years. If the screen's not there, throw it in the ground, but don't throw it across the line of scrimmage. And he had pressure on him, but he threw it too far. Killer play. And then this next time they get down there, they should have scored, is they've got 4th and 2, 1.5, and they run this fake speed sweep and then run the stretch play with Derrick. The stretch play with Derrick in the side saddle. He's running sideways. And I just don't think that's a great call. Derrick is a downhill They were in a 6-1 defense. I don't want to get technical, George. They were in a 6-1 defense. And when you're in a 6-1 and pinching and you run the stretch play, the center, the guard, the tackle have to reach the guy on the guard, the guy on the tackle, and the tackle ends up on the middle linebacker. That's the way you have to block the stretch play. And they weren't able to do that. The middle linebacker meets Derek right in the hole, and the tackle falls off late on it, but the middle linebacker's with Derek, but Derek's going sideways. If Derek's coming straight downfield, I don't think the middle linebacker stops him for a yard and a half. So that's the two plays, and then they got unlucky that Anthony Richardson got hurt, because I'm telling you, Anthony as a freshman, as a new quarterback in the NFL, would have made all those plays. Gardner Minshew makes play after play after play, critical third down throws that weren't easy throws with people in his face. And so I think they just kind of a little bit unlucky. I thought they played well. The defense, for some reason, couldn't stop the run. When they win, if Mike's going to get it worked out, if they're going to win, the defensive line has to dominate and the offensive line has to be able to run the ball. If they dominate with the defensive line, they win on defense, because it covers that secondary that is middle of the pack at best. And if they run the ball well, it opens up play action pass after play action pass. And that's their passing game. That is their passing game. They're not capable of being drop backs. So that's it. It's all in the lines. And just watch it the rest of the season. You're probably right. I'm a little bit more, you know me, I'm a little bit more hesitant. I'm saying anywhere from 10 to 7 to 7 to 10. I still don't think the division is great. I don't think the Colts will be with quarterback issues. I just don't. I think Minshew's going to play great, but I just don't think you can do it with a young quarterback. Supposedly he'll be back in 3 weeks. I'm still not sold on the Jags. I think they're a little bit like us. They're a little bit like the Titans, and I don't think the Texans, even though they're playing, they're coaching, they're doing great. But I don't know if they're good enough to do it either. So I still think the division's totally up for grabs. We didn't play a bad game yesterday in our mentality, except the run like it was. Do you think T.R. Tart is important? Holy cow. That guy that took his place, they kept running the ball right there. Now, is there calls you make or something to help out with that? I don't know. But the backup nose is not T.R. Tart, and it made a big difference in that game. The pass rush was not bad. Minshew was just unbelievable at getting rid of the ball with people in his face. I thought it was a kiss of death for the Titans that they hurt the starter.
He may well be the best backup, quote, backup quarterback in football. He's better than some starters around the league, but just has not found a place that will say, okay, Gardner Minshew, it is yours. You are it. So let me ask both of you this. If I had told both of you before the game, Tart will not play, did you think it would be that damaging?
No. I'll start. Absolutely not. He comes out of games, and there's this guy and some other people play for him some, but yesterday that was it. I hope that was it. I hope that was it, because that's really been the first team that's just absolutely said, we're coming at you. And of course, you keep coming to somebody when you can run it like that. And I promise you, Kelly will say the same thing. Very seldom in the whole game were the Colts in third and long. It was always 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. And then when they cross the 50, it might as well be 2nd and 5, because they're going to go for it on 4th down, so they don't have to throw the ball. And so they'd get to 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 and then make it. And they beat us with our style of play yesterday. I think that's what's hurting Vrabel so much, is he got beat with his style.
Kelly?
He really did. I was that was the most disappointing thing yesterday, but it just shows you how Tierre Tart is so important to that defensive line. Good gracious! I mean, they're the last two. I think it's the last 2 years that the Titans have been up at the top, if not tops, in run defense. I mean, we always talk about their secondary, but the run game is what they've been really good at. And then they were only allowing 70 yards in the game, and I think Zach Moss had 160 himself. So. You look at that, and when Coach just hit it. Like when you are third and short, now it's hard to get 10 yards and 3 downs in the National Football League. It is, but when you're in third and short all day long, man, that's tough for a defense to overcome. And then when you just line up and you just smash it, and you do what the Indianapolis Colts did yesterday to the Titans, that's very demoralizing to that team, and they just. I don't know, just couldn't stop him yesterday. That was a disappointing thing to me. Other than the offense, I mean, just couldn't stop them. They knew they were going to run, and they still couldn't stop them, George. And that's a very disheartening thing to a defense.
So, guys, let me ask you all this. Let's just say that my little vision here is pretty accurate and pretty clear that this is way more likely a 7-10 football team than it is a 10-7. Although, Watson, I'll grant you there are ways it could be because the division is not the strongest in the NFL. But if I'm right and it's headed towards 7-10, sometime in November, don't you have to start learning about Will Levis?
Oh, absolutely. I don't, if they're not in the run, when it reaches a point that they're out of the race, oh, absolutely. They'll go with him. I don't think there's any doubt about that, but I just don't think they're there just yet. Again, another big game this week. They've had a lot of success against the Ravens, and we'll see what they do here. But that game was a lot closer than it looked, even though they gave up all those yards. Guys, this is why I don't give up yet on that run defense. 20 games in a row, nobody had rushed for 100 yards on this team. 20 games in the NFL in a row. And then all of a sudden, we got a guy out. I don't think Landry is near the player he was before his injury. I don't think he's anywhere close to what he was. Key has given us a big boost in there. And I'm still concerned. I think the defensive line will come back. Pierre's not hurt bad. He'll be back. I think they'll come back, and I think they'll get upset and come back. I'm still worried, George, Kelly, about the offensive line. I just don't know if we're good enough. I know we're not good enough to drop back pass and go win a game. We might win one here or there, but we can't rely on that every week to drop back and throw it and win a game. But we got to be good enough to run the ball. We've got to be. And maybe with Petit gets back and we get Dillard out of there, because I still think he's $29 million for a guy that's been a backup his whole career. And I'd like to say one more thing that's just eating at me. For God's sakes, can some team in the NFL teach their offensive linemen not to hold? And can somebody in the NFL teach their secondary not to pass interfere on balls overthrown by 10 yards? I mean, it drives me crazy. It killed us yesterday. Those pass interference calls may have been the difference in the game. And I saw for where Fulton said he didn't interfere, he held the guy. It was a double move. He reached out and had him around the neck. He held the guy. If you're going to, the way you play a double move, Kelly, you know this. You've heard it all your life. You got to get in front of the guy. Yeah. When he makes his first cut and goes, you got to get in front of him where you don't have to hold him. He runs into you.
Right.
But if you're on the side of him and then you reach out and grab him, make the throw and catch. Golly bum, it drives me crazy. So I'm not as far yet, George, maybe as you. I can dang sure understand your feelings. But I'm just hoping. I think the defensive line will be back. I'm not sure about the offensive line. That's still start of the year, guys. What do we say? Offensive line and secondary. What are we still dealing with right now, today? Offensive line and secondary.
offensive line, Kelly, looks like it could get better.
Yes.
I don't see where the secondary is going to get better.
Well, yeah, I think the offensive line with those two guys, with Skoronski and the Petit Frere guy coming back, I think that'll certainly help. Everything that helps the secondary, and Coach knows this, is getting a pass rush on people. And
Yes.
yeah, I mean, if you get a pass rush on people, which I think they got some guys, Arden Key is obviously, and Autry, they can rush the passer, and the Simmons kid, they can rush the passer. They've got to totally take that running game though, and that's, I think Coach brought it up. I mean, when you go that many games without allowing somebody to run for 100 yards, and then one guy goes out, I mean, that shows you just how important that guy is to that defense. And if you can make a team one-dimensional, which I used to hate playing the Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens when I played, because the Steelers for like 10 years in a row were the number one run defense in the league. They made you one-dimensional. And if you can do that, then you got a shot. But, that's how you fix the secondary. But he's right about that, man. It's not only in the NFL, it's in college too. Guys get everybody's playing all these man coverages now. They don't want to throw in some zones, and I know that there are zones, but they're putting in all these man coverages, and they're putting in all these mix and match things with the secondary, and then a guy gets matched up one-on-one. He gets matched up man-to-man. And then he's one-on-one, and he knows that the ball is coming. Well, instead of turning around, looking at the guy's eyes and turning his head, he goes crazy and just gets his anxiety and he just starts grabbing. And that's where everybody is. I mean, it happens at every level now because people are playing so much man defense. So they've got to fix that, and that just comes through practice, George.
Hey, Watson, I had one other vision.
What's that, bud?
If the Braves hit today like they did on Saturday, they'll be going home early as well.
They'll be going home early as well, George. Today is critical. They got to win today, and then I think all they got to do is go back and get one in Philly and come back home for that last one.
Oh, if they could get to Game 5, I'd be delirious.
Absolutely, because they'll have a good pitcher back by then too.
I'm just not sure they'll
have Strider back, but I don't either. Who are the pitchers today?
Zach Wheeler for Philly, an Atlanta kid who has shoved it down their throat every time he pitches against them. Max Fried, if the blister is not an issue, Max Fried will pitch great. Max Fried's a baller. I'm a huge Max Fried fan. I'm glad this got me worked up a little.
It should have you worked up. My gracious, that's the two best on both teams. So let's see who's got it today, babe.
I just sent you a picture of my seats on Saturday. Great seats, no hitting.
Why didn't you do that?
Well,
I'd like to see where you're sitting. I know you did.
I just sent it to you.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm on the phone. I can't.
Well, I understand that. Doing two things at one time. Taxes.
And I can't do two things at one time.
I know. Get your.
You can say that all you want. It's true. I can't.
Get your AARP card. They'll help you with it.
Hey, Coach, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Hey, Coach, don't worry about it because you're still in the opening, though. So don't worry about it.
He is so bitter about that, Watson. He wants you removed. I'm not sure, but that he doesn't hate you.
No, I don't hate. No, not at all. I mean, but I'm in the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame as well, George. I mean, can we just maybe put a little, maybe let me go on there just a little bit? I mean, I know I'm living under the shadow of Watson Brown. I get it. I get reminded of that. I get reminded of that every week by Tony Basilio. I understand that. I get it, but I just want to be in the opener. Wow.
There's so much bitterness.
All I'm working on Tony to do, Kelly, is just don't call me his daddy. Call me his brother.
I agree.
I don't want to be called his daddy, for God's sake. Tony ain't no just young buck himself now. So
no.
Oh, Lord have mercy. And yes, you are in the Hall of Fame. So can we get the intro fixed on that?
You know what?
Fix the intro to where Kelly doesn't have a bad feeling.
Right. I mean, because what's happening is he's holding it against you. And
he is?
Oh, I think so.
Well, I'm trying.
I'm not at all.
I'm trying,
Coach,
I'm trying to take up for Kelly here.
No, I think he's
not at all.
I think he's jealous of your status.
I'm just going to say this: if it keeps happening, I'm not going to the bowling night with George. I'm not doing it.
Oh my God! Oh, this is
that's a hell of a
this
threat.
is
right
really
there, George.
Oh, this is serious. This is the
That's
first
a
time.
hell of a threat, man.
This is the first time he's come.
I'm not
with
going.
this.
I'm not going. I'm gonna leverage it.
Oh, I don't blame you, bud. Leverage every penny of it. See what you get out of it from the old boy.
It's a lot of pennies.
He needs to be leveraged.
Watson, you behave.
Well, I will. And Kelly, I hope your daughter, seriously, I hope your daughter's doing good and okay.
She's doing better, man. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Coach.
Okay, buddy. Okay. Thanks, guys. Talk to you.
Absolutely. We'll hear a little bit from Coach Mike Vrabel after the break. Stick around.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Convenience and value, 2 words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
You know, it was really interesting to hear Watson and Kelly talk, and I guess I hadn't thought of it this way. Vrabel kind of got beat yesterday by a team playing Vrabel ball. Line up and run it down your throat. And anyway, whatever the case, it's got him at 2-3, and it has Mike Vrabel talking about his team.
I think that it wasn't. There's certainly that's a part of it. Our ability to score touchdowns down there. But it's much more than that. We have to play better on defense, and we have to, be able to run the football and do the things that we've done around here that we know is going to help us win. So, red zone offense is something that has been a factor in helping us win. But just there were some other things as well. Disappointed that we lost, and for all the factors that we lost. But that's my number. Just disappointed that we lost, and we'll have to come back next week and get some of those things fixed. Like nothing, short yardage run that got out of there, and we had some other opportunities to get off the field though on third down, but it seemed like when they needed to run the football, they were able to. So certainly frustrating.
No, it's never about one player, but was there any thought to potentially pulling Christian Bolton?
Yeah, there was thought. I thought wanted Christian to challenge and do his job, and the double move is one thing. They double moved him, and I coached them even at halftime. I said if they double move you, try to make sure that you're square and that you're that's how we can play it. And the referee thought he slid over late, but we just got to make sure that we keep our eyes on our man and not in the backfield. Man coverage. We're not going to intercept the football in man coverage. Our job in man coverage is to not let our guy catch the ball. And if the ball gets tipped, then the post safety is going to probably intercept it. But we can't go, looking for interceptions in man coverage. Your eyes will be in the backfield too much. No, I think there were. I know there were some guys out of their gaps, guys jumping around trying to make plays, and what we got to do is we got to set an edge, build a wall, and swarm and tackle. And I'm sure there'll be some missed tackles, but I know that there were some gaps in the wall. I know on one there was an edge, and again the big one probably makes it look worse than what it was because there was probably a lot of 2-yard gains and 1-yard gains. Like I said, 56 or whatever they had was on one. But then there were some other times that I felt like when they needed to run it, they ran it, and they were able to push us in there in the end zone. Not big enough. Not big enough, right? So great drive, and then just not being able to come back there and do enough with it defensively. The red zone, we had 1st and 20 down there, self-inflicted wounds, and just I thought we threw the football. I thought we were productive. We need to be able to run it, and when we get down there, score. We had close play to Hop, with Derek, and didn't convert it. So whatever that problem is, I don't know. I tried to hit a play and didn't hit it. Hey, you have a second to talk to Christian. You know what I mean? Like what I told you, his eyes were in the backfield on the one with Pittman. You can ask Christian. Other than that, I'm not. You can ask him as soon as I finish up. Well, just trying to, being able to hop the back over. I thought, we're trying to find a spot where we wanted to run it. Just didn't get it. Didn't pick it up. Thought we'd obviously get it. That's why we went for it. And Ryan tried to move Derek over, and we didn't pick it up. Well, we need to be able to pick up. You're not going to be able to block them all, but going to have to try to stay on there and gain a yard. Short yardage sometimes is a little dirty, and make sure everybody's covered up. And they tackled us, and we didn't get it. I don't think that was the game. I thought we had an opportunity to get the ball back and go score, and we didn't stop them till a minute left with no timeouts. Well, I mean, the one we blitzed them and the ball wobbled and the guy caught. We're in man coverage.
Kelly, he sounds obviously disappointed and a tad bit disgusted.
Yeah, he is. I mean, they just didn't play good yesterday. And you just alluded to it. Coach alluded to it. I mean, he got beat using his own tactics. That was, you just don't ever see that from the Titans. I mean, they've been so good against the run for the last several years. You just don't see that. But yesterday, they were in a position where they knew they were going to run the football and they couldn't stop it. And that's really tough when you're a player or when you're a coaching staff. There's times, and I know that this is totally different from the NFL, but I was in the press box calling high school games, and there was one game that we couldn't beat the team, and there was nothing I could call that was going to help us. They were stopping the run. We couldn't block them. They were killing our quarterback. You couldn't throw the foot there. It's just sometimes you get in situations like that, and it's a very humbling, tough situation to be in. And when you know they're going to run the football and you can't stop it, that's very demoralizing to a team, and you're more than likely going to lose the football game. But I will say this, and I wanted to say this while Coach was off, but if Anthony Richardson stays in that game, they may win that game. That's just where they are right now. But when Gardner Minshew came in, that dude's a ball player. He's undersized. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's been told his whole life that he couldn't make it. He's not good enough. And the dude just makes plays. And I really believe that if Anthony Richardson stays in the game, he's not going to make some of those plays that Gardner Minshew made. So I don't know. It just seems like the balance of the AFC South is kind of, C.J. Stroud in Houston. If Gardner Minshew plays for Indianapolis, he went to Baltimore and beat Baltimore. So the 3 games that the Indianapolis Colts have won, he's played in those games. He's been in those games. He started those games, and he came in yesterday. So, and then I kind of disagree with Coach on the Jacksonville Jaguars. They beat Buffalo, and Buffalo is supposedly one of the elite teams in the league. And they beat them yesterday. It wasn't a fluke. If you watch the game,
I saw enough of it.
Yeah, they beat those guys. So I think Jacksonville's getting better, and I think they're going to keep getting better and better and better. And I don't know. I will say that I think the division is kind of up for grabs, but man, these teams are getting better. They're getting better, and I just don't see the Titans right now. They're going to have to make some moves to get themselves better.
Do you think the Titans were prepared to face Gardner Minshew?
It's a good question.
That is a good question.
I started to think about that, and I said, obviously you can't predict an injury, but maybe they only prepared for Richardson. I mean,
he's the best backup in the league. If we're being honest, there's 5 or 6 teams right now in the National Football League
would love to have him.
He should be starting for.
Yeah, Jets.
He just never seems to have. He is Jacoby Brissett, but better.
Yeah, that's a good comparison there, George. He's a really good player. I've always thought I came to Eagleville one day, and this was before he was going into college. And my quarterback coach, he's from Mississippi, and a guy that used to coach at Middle knew he was a family friend. He came up here to Eagleville, and my old college coach worked him out for a day, and I didn't realize that it was Gardner Minshew. And then I've kind of kept up with him. The guy can play, man, and
yes,
I really think he made plays that Anthony Richardson can't make.
I feel like Gardner Minshew is kind of what Kelly Holcomb was like a little bit. Not the biggest guy, not the fastest guy, but smarter than most other quarterbacks. Would do what it takes to win.
I had to use my mind. I could not use my feet, that's for sure. So I knew exactly where everybody was going, what they were going to. what they were doing. And when you understand that kind of stuff and you know how you're protected, you can get rid of the ball. Like Tom Moore drained it. He put it in my head like 1, 2, 3, throw the ball away, and that's how I made it 13 years in the NFL.
Let's hope that Gardner's mental makeup is a little more positive than Kelly's.
It probably is. He wears skin tight Daisy Duke blue jean shorts, so I'm sure he's a little bit different than me.
Yeah, I don't think the upbringing is similar.
Yeah,
We'll go to the break. Stat of the day, then a lot of college football. Get ready. Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
So who said I can't be a golfer? Well, you know what? This is X Golf, located just down the road from the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. This is fun. It'll improve your golf game, and you need to stop in and check it out. 8138 Sawyer Brown Road, and who knows, I may get to 200 before it's all over.
All right, I'm here with my buddy Chip Ward from Lincoln Home Loans. And Chip, it's football season, and it feels like it's moving season every time of the year, especially here in Nashville. Tell us about your business, Chip, and kind of introduce people to who you are and what you do here in the Nashville area.
Well, you're exactly right, Billy. It is definitely moving season, as it is most times, especially right here after Labor Day. Kids are back in school, and people are starting to think they want to get settled in before the holidays. And so what we are doing is right now we are getting a lot of people pre-approved for home loans. Inventory has ticked up a little bit. It has been down, but it's rebounding a little bit. And right now is a good time to buy.
Chip, real quick before I let you go, tell people how they can reach you. And if someone is interested in your business, how would they reach out to you?
Well, sure. At Lincoln Home Loans, you can reach me at 615-500-7579. My URL for my application page is chipward.net, and my email address is simply chip@chipward.net. And so I'd love to hear from anybody. I can answer any questions about the whole home buying and financing process.
Top of the hour on a Reaction Monday. It's now time for Stat of the Day, brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards out in Shelbyville. You can find them at 204 East Depot Street. They're open during the week, Tuesday through Friday from noon to 5, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. Give them a call at 931-492-4304. All right, let's see what Matthew's got cooked up for us today. Christian McCaffrey, 49ers running back, has scored a touchdown in 14 straight games. He's now tied for the fourth longest streak with what former running back?
Good Lord.
Another monstrous question for Matthew.
Oh, my God.
He is bringing the heat.
Yeah, a little too much heat.
Is it another 49er?
No.
Gosh. Running back.
Thought you had something there, huh, Kelly?
I did, yeah.
Kelly, this is just a stab, and it's nothing more than that. Curtis Martin.
Walter Payton. I don't know. I couldn't.
Okay.
There's Walter Payton, Curtis Martin. I'm sure
it's somebody on a team that has to rely on running.
Curtis Martin, the former Jet.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Saquon Barkley. I don't know, man. This is
show
crazy.
Us what it is.
Another white flag. Here we go. It is Emmitt Smith.
That's
Jeez, that was
I can see that.
Yeah.
And they scored enough of them that he was bound to get one.
Disappointing performance there.
I mean,
no, not really. I mean, that's very vague. Very vague.
Got beat.
Look, did you have the answer?
Oh, certainly not.
Okay, thank you.
Just got beat by a better team today.
Okay, we ready to get into college football?
Let's do it.
Kelly, I want to thank down in the Marietta area Dave and Buster's for having all these games on. We got there early enough to see the 11 o'clockers and a little bit of the 2:30s.
Okay.
I went into Dave and Buster's. That's a free little plug. Believing that Texas would get Oklahoma under control. And the fact of it is they never came close.
Didn't happen.
Man, did I walk away with my eyes open about Oklahoma.
Well, they got a quarterback now. That Dylan Gabriel kid, he come from UCF. I mean, he can play. And all these teams that are winning have really good quarterbacks. And he's Texas turned the ball over the other day at critical times in the game. Ewers threw to that tight end right down there when they're in the red zone, and he got knocked silly, and the ball popped up in the air. He threw another interception. So turnovers killed them, but I mean, Oklahoma was ready to play. That everybody was talking about Venables being, he's probably on the hot seat, but man, he's got them guys fired up, and they were playing. They were running around. He's got a really good quarterback. They can throw the ball. They can run the ball. They look good. Nobody's been talking about them, and they have not lost a game. So, wow, they look pretty good.
What this appears to do to Texas, because up until Saturday, Texas was a very legitimate national title contender.
Yeah.
Now it feels to me, Kelly, like their hopes hinge on a rematch with Oklahoma in the Big 12 title game.
Could, but it's not like Texas has not had a program like the Alabamas of the world, the Ohio States or Georgia, where Alabama can lose a game and maybe get in at the end. If Texas loses a game, I don't know if they've got that standard yet of winning consistently like they did back in the old days. I just don't think they have that. So you might be right. I mean, they might need a big win. They might need to get to the Big 12 championship game, obviously, but they'll need a big win and need to keep on winning, because if they lose again, they're totally out of it.
Here's the thing I hadn't thought of. Billy, does the Big 12 do it divisionally?
No, they don't.
They take the top two.
They used to. I think it's their 2 or 3 years under this new system of no divisions. But yeah, I mean, every year it used to be Texas OU, for the title. Yeah. And this year, Texas isn't done. I mean, if they went out and then beat Oklahoma in the conference title, they're in the playoff. And if Oklahoma wins out and their only loss is Texas, both of them are in. I mean, I don't see. It's going to be tough for probably both of them to win out. That's probably an unlikely potential situation. But I mean, Texas is very well still alive. Now, Oklahoma has that higher odds, but it's not like this Red River shootout is do or die. Because a lot of these conference championships now,
it'll be much less do or die when they get to 12.
Yes.
Yeah.
But at 4, it's not do or die necessarily.
But it's tougher.
Pretty doggone close.
Yeah. It's still borderline do or die.
First of all, it's a huge feather in Oklahoma's hat to neutral site take down a team that went to Alabama and won.
Yeah.
Boy, Alabama's gotten a lot better.
Ooh. Yes, they have.
Something's going on in those practice sessions. So okay, what the heck? Let's start with that. By the way, he appeared to blow a gasket late in the game. Did anybody see?
I didn't see
that every game. But he was not happy. I forget what play it was. Oh, I think it was when Milroe threw it late in the game. They threw the ball. when they could have just ran the clock out, but they threw the ball to stop the clock.
Yes, that's right.
And I thought he was going to kill somebody.
At that point, we were in the bottom of the fourth inning. So, Kelly, has Alabama started to get to a point where if and when they play Georgia in the SEC title game, if that were to happen, can they go toe-to-toe with Georgia?
Golly, I don't. Yeah, I don't know, George. I really don't. But they are getting better, and that's kind of the last couple of years. It seems like that Saban's teams have started out like that, especially on the defensive side of the ball. He's always been a defensive guy, but for some reason they've started out slow the last years, and they've had all these quarterbacks. So they've been really good on offense, but defensively they kind of struggle. But it seems like every week they would get better. But now you're seeing that on both sides of the ball. I mean, he's getting better defensively. They're starting to be the Alabama of old, and now they're starting to figure a little bit out on offense. And everybody had them, when they went down to South Florida and looked really bad. Of course, it's pouring down rain down there, but when everybody was just counting them out, and now, I mean, everybody's talking about them again. Now I know the other day that what they have like 47 yards rushing. It was the least
much.
amount of yards rushing that Nick Saban's ever had, I think. But Jalen Milroe, the guy's getting better. Good gracious! And there were some throws he made, and then there was some things in the secondary that Texas A&M did with losing wide receivers, and they got some free plays. But the only way to get better is to get out there on the practice field and have really good practices, and that's what Nick Saban is accustomed to. He's got them kids buying into it, and now they're winning games, and they're starting to have a little swagger back as they normally do.
I think looking at this game, I do think Alabama can go toe-to-toe with Georgia. And we got a comment here from Palmer Toms, who might even have on later this week. He agrees.
Yeah.
But I think this game was more about Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher. I mean, what in the world? At halftime, he was interviewed and said, they went for that fourth down in the first half, didn't get it. And he was asked about it at the half. He said, well, to beat Alabama, you've got to go all in. You've got to be aggressive. You've got to make those kind of play calls. Well, in the third quarter, they had another fourth down, 4th and 1, inside Alabama territory, and they punt the football. I mean, so he flips the page right back over and doesn't go for that one later in the game. It just feels like he's overthinking everything. And again, it's hard to put it all on Jimbo, but I put a lot of this on Jimbo and they never win games like this. When's the last time A&M won a tight game like that one?
Well, you do wonder because now they've got 2 losses, real shot at a third one on Saturday in Knoxville. How many losses can he have and keep that job?
I think Tennessee turns into a must-win now, because all of a sudden you beat Tennessee, you're sort of back on track a little bit, But, I mean, they don't win road games. They just don't. I mean, Jimbo's struggled on the road so much, Kelly, and those road games it comes down. A lot of it does come down to coaching and those decisions, but I mean, Alabama's defense was also a big part of that, I think, too.
Yeah, but then you got guys, our buddy Doran gets on there and talks about A&M's offense is better, special teams better, their defense is better. They should win this game.
A&M.
Yeah, and then it kind of blows up. I got friends texting me saying, hey, tell your boy Doran he's wrong again about the Tide. And I'm like, good, great. But, I mean, that's kind of how Saban is. I mean, everybody, throws them off as dead, and they're not dead. I mean, they're still playing and they're starting to get. I mean, they're starting to look really, really good. And I don't know if they can hang with Georgia. I think they can because they're obviously used to that setting. They're experienced in that game. They're experienced in winning games and being up against Georgia. And a couple of years ago, they beat Georgia in the SEC championship and then turn around and get beat in the national championship. So I don't know. They've got to do it. Georgia's the champions right now. So. But yeah, I think they could stay with them, but I don't know. They still got to win. They still got some big games coming up. Alabama does. So and they get UT at Alabama. So we're still going to be finding out about these teams in the next couple of weeks. That's for sure.
And there's been a lot of talk about Alabama's receivers and their lack of depth and talent at the receiver position. But Jermaine Burton played like one of their better receivers. Yeah,
he's a really good player.
that's a really difficult place to play. You know, those 105,000 make a lot of noise. It's a
Yeah.
very difficult environment, and Alabama handled it for the most part with real poise. Whether you like the man or not, Nick Saban is a really good football coach.
Still is.
And if he announced his retirement tomorrow, and I don't think he's going to, but this is what I think I know. We're never going to see another run like this man has had.
Maybe Kirby here, down the road, but I don't even know.
I'm going to go with it. I don't think we're ever going to see one that long and that good.
Yeah.
Well, because Kirby has to do it now in the NIL transfer portal era.
So different era.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about it, though, Billy. I mean, the guy won how many years in a row? 10 games, at least 10 games. Can you imagine that?
It's insane.
All the pressure. It's insane.
Well, I think Kirby.
He went 10-2 last year, and everybody was out to get him and talking about but he won 10 games.
You got to admit, Kirby's on his way, though. I mean, that's a hell of a start.
Look, back-to-back national titles puts him in great company. I mean, that's the best of the best. And now, so let's just transition to it.
LSU.
Well, no. Let's transition to Georgia.
Okay.
While I'm sitting in section 325, I did notice a few televisions, a few phones looking at this Georgia-Kentucky game. I'll be honest, there was a part of me that believed that Georgia could make it interesting. Not that they were going to go win in Athens, but I sure as heck didn't think they were going to get beat 51-13. And listening to that on the way home, Kelly, I got to rethink Georgia. There's more legs here than I realized.
Well, they've been really good for the last 2 years, won national championships, and they've kind of sleptwalked up until this point. But I think there was some incentive thrown at them saying, well, Georgia may not be as good and Kentucky's really good. So I think Georgia got tired of hearing that and said, not so fast, my friends. We're still the two-time defending national champions, and they showed it the other day. The Beck kid looked really good throwing the football. Kentucky is not at that level yet. It's kind of amazing, and Kentucky's a really good football team, but it's they're not at that level. And I don't know how many teams are at that level right now. And Alabama, I don't know, Ohio State, Michigan. We still got to find out about Michigan, and Georgia's something to be contended with here in the next couple of weeks for sure.
I went into Saturday believing that Georgia is not as good as Florida State, not as good as Michigan, not as good as Ohio State, not as good as Texas, that offensively they don't have enough weapons. I mean, we know they have an NFL tight end in Brock Bowers. But now I got to rethink off of this performance and say, wait a minute.
Yeah.
The possibility of three-peat, not only do they have a real break in their schedule in that until they go to Knoxville, there doesn't look like much of a challenge. Knoxville is not until mid-November. So as they keep getting a little better, I'm having to say to myself, wait a minute, this three-peat is a possibility, and a week ago I didn't think it was.
Yeah, looking back at this game, anytime Georgia is in a game like this, they get a good team, a hot team coming to their house. Just feels like they get up, they wake up, and they get ready for these games. Kirby Smart has a way of getting his team ready to go and dominate an opponent. Right? Auburn was a big game. It was at Auburn. They found a way late. But there's a lot of hype for this Georgia-Kentucky game, right? A lot of people saying Kentucky, can beat them. Georgia just silenced it just like that, just like they've done so many times. Think back to the Tennessee game. Last year, we had a good comment in from Rusty on YouTube. He said, Georgia's been playing possum, but they will get up for these type of games, and they have. And that I could, it's just what Kirby does.
Well, they held. Did they hold Kentucky under 200 yards of offense?
I think so. Ray Davis didn't do anything.
Yeah, I think Devin Leary had like 130 yards passing, and Ray Davis was not involved in the game. I know he was involved, but he never was a big factor in the game. And I think they held them to like 40-something yards rushing.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. When he turns it up, when he tells them guys to turn it up, they turn it up, and they got ball players on both sides of the ball, and special teams are really good. And there's a reason why they've been as good as they have been the last couple of years.
Like Alabama, though, they're getting better. They weren't playing possum when they were down 14-3 to South Carolina at halftime.
No, they can't. They had the battle back.
There was some issues at that point. I don't doubt that Kirby aired out that locker room at halftime. Obviously, it was a different team, but Georgia is getting better. Are they at that level? I don't know, but I'll say this. It's one of a couple of wake-up calls I got this weekend.
Well, Carson Beck sort of had a wake-up call. He was ready to play, and Ricky said he proved he was clutch against Auburn. He didn't really need to be clutch against Kentucky. They just dominated. They went out there and let him rip it out there, Kelly. I mean, credit to Mike Bobo. I mean, he was like 13 for 13 to start the game. And Kentucky was like, I thought they were going to run the football, but they just play action faked it down their throats. It was beautiful.
No, he looked good. They know what they got in him. I promise you. They understand what they got, and they're taking off the training wheels each game. I mean, each game he's starting to get a little bit more involved in the pass game. So by the time they have to play UT, he'll be ready. That's for sure.
I think they know what they've got in Brock Bowers too.
Last game we're going to talk about is Missouri LSU. The next stop that anybody has in that game will be the first. There wasn't a lick of defense played in it. LSU found a way, and that's about all they did, Kelly, because they don't play a lick of defense either.
No.
Well, it's kind of amazing, too, because the last, LSU has always been really good defensively, but, man, they're just giving up so many yards. And the kid from Missouri can throw the football, but he made two really costly turnovers there at the end of the game, and they scored on one of them. I don't know. That was a crazy game, but you're right. There was no defense being played by either team, and I thought Missouri. Yeah, I think Missouri's a little better than we thought they were. I mean, they're 5-0 going into the game. I think they proved a little bit, but LSU is still, I don't know. I think that their quarterback is Jaden Daniels played really good. He threw the ball well. He ran the ball well. He's kind of all of their offense. And even Brian Kelly said it after the game. We got a pretty good guy playing quarterback for us, and he kind of got them over the hump in that game. But there was no defense on either side of the ball.
That was a legendary backdoor cover for LSU and a brutal beat for Mizzou. That last pick six. I mean,
it'll be on SVP at some point.
Bad beats.
Oh yeah. After the break, we'll get Kelly's top four and in what order, because been a little bit of change. Then we'll get my studs and duds, and I'll tell you that I'm going to take one of the duds and scratch it out. There's a bigger one out there. I'll explain next.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, you need to call Bart Durham. And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from, and for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
The George Plaster Show is Nashville's best sports talk, 2 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. There's a podcast version available on Spotify and Apple Podcast.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs.
So we are now getting to a point where when you put the top 4 out there in college, that it's got a little more meat on the bone. So let's show you where Kelly has these teams, and then we'll ask him, who did Florida State piss off?
Yeah, what do you have against the Seminoles?
I don't have anything against the Seminoles. I'm starting to think Oregon might be the 4th best team in the country, man. They're really good. I mean, nobody sees them in this part of the country a lot, but man, Bo Nix is playing well defensively. They can rush the pass. They can get after people. They've got a lot of studs there. So there's those teams right there. Obviously, Oklahoma's that's their first time in there, but Florida State's done nothing wrong. They're probably the 4th best team in the country. Maybe Oregon, the 5th best. I don't know, but I think Oregon is really. I think they're really good, and obviously they're going to have to play some more games. But I took
Washington this week.
I was going to say
in Seattle.
Right.
We're going to learn a little more about Oregon.
You could probably put Washington in there at number 4 as the 4th team, and then whoever wins, Oregon, Washington.
Okay, let me ask you all this: if the committee released its first stuff today, there's no doubt in my mind they'd have Georgia, then Michigan.
Yeah.
But would they have Florida State or Ohio State third?
I think you got to have. I think Ohio State's third.
Yeah,
I think Ohio State's third, and I think probably Florida State's 4th. I'll say that right now. And I'm glad y'all told me that because I didn't even realize that. But Oregon, we'll find out a lot about Oregon. But I think they're really good. Just watching them earlier in the season, man, they can play ball, and they got guys that can. They got a quarterback that's experienced, that can run, he can throw. He's got guys outside that can make plays. Defensively, they can get after you a little bit. They've got, obviously, Phil Knight's sponsored team. He's getting a lot of those kids from California. They can run on defense. So, I don't know. I like them. But Florida State's done nothing wrong. They haven't. It's just for the 4th team, man, I got to find out a little bit more, but Florida State's probably the 4th team going into this week.
Okay, let's go now to the all-important, award-winning studs and duds for the week. Let's start with the studs, and we'll begin with Oklahoma.
Boomer.
I'll admit, going in, I thought Texas would win the game. Boy, was I wrong. When push came to shove, Texas never got control of that game. They never got a stop that really ever mattered. Kudos to Oklahoma. Red River shootout belongs to the Sooners.
Wow.
Stud number 2. Scratch out UCLA, even though it was a really good win, and insert the old SF 49ers. If I was going to take a magic marker.
A little correction here.
Maybe a little correction. UCLA's win is a really good one because Washington State, we don't get a lot of their games here, but the kid at quarterback, Ward, is the real deal. That is a good win for UCLA.
Yep.
Third, Bama. Here's where I really give them credit. Kyle Field, you win there, you have earned it. 105,000, and those people don't just, they don't leave in the third quarter if things aren't going well. It's probably as loyal a fan base as there is in the country. And Alabama had to fight off all of that and A&M to get themselves the win.
And they really didn't play all that well. I mean, they did just enough, but Nick Saban said it. This is probably the worst I've ever played. Our team has played, and we still won.
Finally, Mac Brown. They are going to go undefeated until mid-November.
Miami.
No.
Or no.
Miami is this week.
Florida State.
Miami's this week. And we'll get to Miami here in a moment. It's called duds. Drake May is for real. Kelly, is there a scenario where Drake May will be a better pro than Caleb Williams?
God, I was talking the other day with my son down in Troy. We were talking about Caleb Williams. Man, there's a lot of haters out there that are not a big fan of his, but man, that guy can play some football. He had a play the other day, George and Billy.
Did you see that last touchdown? Is that what you're talking about?
Where he ran it in.
2-point conversion, yeah.
Oh, where he ran it in, like there was nothing open. They had him. Yeah, they had him on both sides. They were rushing him. He got away from it and just used his speed to get to the pylon. It was amazing. That guy is unbelievably talented. Drake May is too. I don't know if Drake May is as athletic as Caleb Williams is, but you got two really good quarterbacks right there that are going to go 1-2 in the draft.
And they got Tez Walker back, so look out for the heels.
How about that?
Seriously.
Okay, to the duds.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like going in that Notre Dame was in trouble for one big reason. On the college level, if you play 3 in a row that are really tough, that third week is a problem. Think about it. Tennessee's got it coming. A&M, at Bama, at Kentucky.
So Kentucky there might be the game.
Kentucky's sitting in a catbird seat there.
Yeah.
Notre Dame had lost at the buzzer in a gut-wrencher to Ohio State where Marcus Freeman and his staff could not count to 11. Then they go to Duke and
got a little lucky.
They got a little good fortune, and Hartman drove them on the final drive to beat Duke. Then they had to go to Louisville, where Jeff Brom, in my opinion, is a damn good football coach.
Yeah.
He is.
I think the guy knows offense, and the truth of it is, listening to it on the way home, a little ticked off, it didn't seem like Notre Dame could get any stops.
Well, and their offense was awful. I mean, they couldn't protect Hartman. The receivers did nothing. Hartman had 3 interceptions. Notre Dame was just bad on offense.
And you normally don't see that with Hartman. You normally don't see that. He didn't turn the ball over, but that's what pressure does to any quarterback.
Yeah. I put his dud number 2, Minnesota, because and I'm going to scratch it out because to be a dud, you got to be something first. Okay.
Dang, George, you don't like PJ Fleck, man?
A man does not live by rowboat alone. Okay.
Good gracious.
This guy's overrated.
He's in Minnesota, dude. It's hard to want to go to school in Minnesota.
It gets a little cold.
Minnesota.
It gets a little cold come August.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they got trounced, which is no surprise. So scratch them out and let me look into the camera and say 2 words. Dallas Cowboys. How about them cowpokes?
How about another Dak interception?
How about they got smoked?
Smoked
by Brock Purdy.
That's just in. The 49ers are really good.
Yeah, they are. Dud number 3.
This is dud of the century.
Mario Cristobal, you've got to be smarter than that. But Kelly, I'm going to ask this question. Okay? So he apparently went, whatever, or his offensive coordinator did, and they decide to run the ball and they fumble.
Yeah.
But does a quarterback have the ability to say to the offensive coordinator or the head coach, what the hell are we doing? Does he have the ability to look over there and say, kneel down?
Yeah, I guess you do got the opportunity, but like you're a young kid and they're the coaches, and it's always been in this profession, it's tradition where the coach tells you what to do and you do it. I don't know. That was really that was not good. That's amazing that lost them the game, but all you got to do is kneel on it.
I think I know this is unpopular opinion. I think Georgia Tech deserves a little bit of credit. They still had to drive down, 70 yards still to
their quarterback's pretty good.
Yeah, Haynes King still drove them down with 20 seconds or something like that.
He found a guy wide open.
I think we forget about that
behind the secondary.
Yeah, but still, it shouldn't have ever even come to that.
Visions of
absolutely
UNLV Vandy.
I don't know. Here's the deal, George. You asked me that. Do you think I'm going to look Coach Donnelly in the eye and tell him, what are we doing?
No, I don't. But I guess these days I wonder if a quarterback, having heard the play, I guess in his, hand signals or whatever, does he turn to that sideline and go, all we got to do is kneel down? What happens if a quarterback does that?
Yeah, I would have probably have done that too, and I'd have probably got blasted because Coach Donnelly said, "Son, I don't need your input.
Yeah, well,
just do what I'm telling you to do."
Mario Cristobal needed the input.
He did. I agree, man. But it's hard for a 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old kid to tell that to a guy that's been in the in the profession for 30 years.
And Mario's a big boy.
He is a big boy.
He's not some little shrinking violet. He's a big man.
He was part of them dynasties at Miami when they were winning national championships. He's a big old boy.
I think they need to install the victory formation this week in practice.
They need to learn it.
They will.
What in the world?
And then we have one last dud.
God.
The Bravos.
Oh.
Come on, George.
Are they going to win today, George?
I don't know.
Come on now.
You really don't?
I don't know.
Come on, Bravos.
Here's what I think I know. If Max Fried does not have lingering blister issues, he's a baller. He'll pitch really well. Problem is, probably Zach Wheeler will too.
Yeah.
There's going to be, first of all, there is huge pressure going into this one on the Braves.
It's do or die.
Huge.
Sure it is. And it's not like they're facing Humpty Dumpty. Zach Wheeler is one of the 10 best starting pitchers in the National League.
We'll see. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's going to be fun.
Are you confident, George?
Let me say this. I'll be at home sitting in my little electric chair watching it. It will feel like now a 5-run first inning would help it.
George, you gonna have your little beverage? You gonna have your little beverage in your hand while you're watching the game? Really excited, anxious?
I may have one of these bottled water. Do we go to a break at this point? I think we do. And then we get to plaster bet of the day. And I'll tell you what it's not going to be. It's not going to be the Hotlanta Braves. But we will have a pick when we come back.
Convenience and value, 2 words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
Final segment on a Monday. Got Monday Night Football tonight. Game 2 of Braves Phillies with the electric chair awaiting George. But first, Plaster's Bet of the Day brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. Give him a call, 615-242-9000, or log on to bartdurham.com. First, let's check out what happened over the weekend. And, Kelly, it was an 0-4 college weekend, but a 2-0 NFL weekend.
God.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow,
Kelly,
Coach.
this is what my college stuff was worth.
Wow.
God.
Missouri, you picked Missouri, huh?
I did, and if you remember, I had them in an underdog pick, so I was none too happy about it.
Yeah, my underdog pick won.
I'm well aware of that. Congratulations.
How about Wyoming?
Yeah. How about them Cowboys?
How about
Well, at least one Cowboy celebrated this weekend.
Yeah.
So, while I think there's pressure in Atlanta, and I know there is, there's a little pressure tonight in the NFL game. Billy, don't show anybody yet where I'm going. Think about this, Kelly. Josh McDaniels was a dud in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
A year ago with the Raiders, 6-10. They lose tonight. He's 1-4.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of pressure on old Josh.
Yeah.
Need to start winning. No Darren Waller. Gone to the Giants. They don't seem to use Hunter Renfrow anymore.
No Hunter Renfrow.
They don't use Josh Jacobs enough. I don't know what's going on in Vegas, but this is put up or shut up night for old Josh. And I think he's going to get a win.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why, but I'm going the Raiders.
The Raiders over the Packers, huh?
That's a close. God, I hate those lines.
That's a tight one.
That is tight. Yeah, that's hard, man. That's tough.
Kelly, all I'm hoping is that by the time they kick off, that I will be much more relaxed, much more jovial.
This is a big swing night for
oh my God,
for George's emotions.
George, let me ask you this: so if the Braves actually go down in flames tonight, will you be watching the Raiders and the Packers?
We'll probably give up sports for a couple of days.
No,
do we need to call you? Because I mean, you won't be on suicide alert or anything.
No,
will you not?
normally,
No
Kelly, I'm really good about this kind of stuff.
Okay.
I'll tell you what's bothering me. This team had a great year. I mean, they were 104 and at like 58. They had an unbelievable year. And if they go down in flames, there's going to be some talk of, you can't get by the Phillies, which feels like it's true. You can't, go deep in the playoffs. Well, they won it all 2 years ago.
Exactly.
But now that kind of talk is going to start to creep in. And I'm hoping it doesn't. I'm hoping that they somehow get this thing to a game 5 and pull out, what it takes to win. They're a really good baseball team, and they have picked a bad time to go cold.
Yeah, and we all know this. It doesn't matter what you do in the regular season. You want to give yourself an opportunity to go to the playoffs, and that's what they've done. But anything can happen, and obviously in a 5-game series, I mean, that just makes it more pressure-packed to win that first game, which they didn't do. Now they got really a bunch of pressure on them tonight to win that second game, because if they don't, man, you got to win 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And you got to win 2 in Philly.
Look, they're not winning this series if they don't win tonight.
Wow.
Period. Kelly?
You never know, George. Never know.
See you tomorrow.
See y'all.
Tony's Phillies. I'd forgotten about that. He may be crowing while I'm dying. We'll talk to him tomorrow. Hope all of you have a good rest of the day. Root on my Bravos, and I don't care if you root on the Raiders or not. See you tomorrow.